President Trump has defied Congress by vetoing the bipartisan defense policy bill. Of course, this is a piece of legislation that does have a majority here that would be veto proof. I want to bring in Yahoo Finance's editor in chief, Andy Serwer, to discuss. Andy, your reaction to this piece of news.
Wow, Julia, this is really setting up a showdown between the president and the Senate Republicans in particular, because they're going to have to decide whether or not to override this veto. And it comes down to supplying money and material to our troops. But also, of course, the president has conflated Section 230 of the Communications Act, which pertains to social networks, including our parent company, I should add, Yahoo. And it's an interesting little move that the president has made, because what he's saying is that if this part of the Communications Act, Section 230, is not repealed, then it allows foreign actors like China and Russia to be able to come into our internet and basically pose a national security threat. Now, a lot of people say Section 230 and the defense bill have nothing to do with each other at all. So it's going to be an interesting time next week when Congress comes back.
Andy, could the president also be using this as leverage, because they have the votes to override, but he's also now pounding the stuff for a larger relief check? Could he use this as leverage over Congress in some way?
Yeah, I mean, Adam, you're absolutely right. It's very curious here what the president is really up to. I mean, clearly he's stirring the pot with both this and, of course, not supporting the stimulus package. I mean, these are two huge moves late in his lame duck presidency. And some people are suggesting he's just looking for attention or setting himself up for a run in 2024. But, what is the end game here? I mean, and with the stimulus package, of course, he ends up siding with the Democrats and the progressives, trying to get more money out to Americans. Here, he's going up against his own party. And so if he puts those two things together, well, the mind fairly reels. And I think it's a little bit too complicated for people like Andy Serwer and traders on Wall Street, because defense stocks are up. Social media stocks are up for the most part. Twitter is down a little bit today, but the stocks didn't really move at all on this news. So I think, unlike the early days of the Trump presidency, when he would strike fear into CEOs' hearts and make their stocks crash, that is not happening here today.
Andy, what about the two Republican senators running for re-election in Georgia? What kind of position does this put them in?
Between a rock and a hard place, Adam, right? I mean, on the one hand, the rhetoric here is you are not going to support the troops, right? Which would mean not overriding the veto, you could argue, means not supporting American troops. Siding with the president, that would be. And on the other hand, siding with the troops would be going against the president, which would be another tough sell. So either way, it's going to be a tough sell in the state of Georgia. And it just puts Mitch McConnell and his crew in a very untenable situation.